What's up? Unmute.
So, just as a framework, I'm evaluating the Orthodox positions on things, but I'd like to argue and hear more clearly your argument on how the Pope has actually erred in faith and morals. I know in a prior debate you cited the position or the disparity between Nostra Aetate and the I may say this wrong, the statement by Pius XI, Mortalium Animos. And in reading Nostra Aetate, it's not exactly stating that Muslims do worship the same God as us.
It literally says that. I have it pulled up on the screen. So what are you talking about?
I was reading it too, and just sentence by sentence.
Okay. Do we want to go through it again?
Yeah, let's
do it.
Talking through it.
On the account of their fathers, this people remains most dear to God. Oh, excuse me. That's the that's the.
I'm looking at paragraph 3.
No, hold on. Lumen Gentium 16.
Okay, I was looking at Nostra Aetate.
We'll do that next.
3.
We'll do that next. The plan of salvation includes those who acknowledge the Creator. In the first place among them, there are the Muslims who profess to hold the faith of Abraham. Along with us, they adore the one merciful God who on the last day will judge mankind. What does that mean in your mind?
Well, that means, so if I am putting on my Catholic hat, I am looking at that stating, well, they do believe in God. There is a common faith heritage that is there. They are children of Abraham.
None of that is true. No, it doesn't say children of Abraham. It says faith of Abraham. How does Paul define the faith of Abraham?
Right.
Don't say right. How does Paul define the faith of Abraham in Galatians?
I do not have that specific.
You're not familiar with Galatians?
I'm familiar with. I would appreciate if you could read the exact quote.
Okay, so Galatians 3, those who are of the faith of Abraham are the seed of the promise who believe in Christ, is what Paul says in Galatians.
Now, the Muslims, it's true that they do revere Christ.
No, they don't. No, they don't. But that's not revering Christ. That doesn't matter. The Arians revered Christ, and they're excommunicated and going to hell, right?
Right. Fair. But to create a document that puts in context that yes, they do, and you look at
but they don't. Do you know what Islam teaches about Allah?
I know. I've been listening to parts of your debates about that, and their concept of God is definitely wrong.
And what do you think what do they think about Christians who believe in the Trinity and that Jesus is God? Do they think it's the same God?
No, they do not.
Do Jews believe that you have the same God as them?
Modern Jews, I would say no.
Okay. So if Jews and Muslims don't believe it's the same God, and if Allah has no sons, how on earth could you fathom that this is the same God as what you worship?
That's where I would look at paragraph 3 of Nostra Aetate, which puts in context what the church is teaching, or what the Catholic Church's position is on the Muslims in more context. They adore the one God, living and subsisting in himself, merciful.
Yeah, but they don't, because that one God is not the Christian God. It's not the Trinity. And there's no access to that one God apart from the Trinity. Have you read the New Testament? You weren't even aware of what was in Galatians. What does Jesus say from John 5 to John 9 about access to the Father?
Through him.
Oh, do they believe that?
They do not.
Okay, so then they don't adore the one true God.
Right. So they in the context of the rest of this, though. So what the purpose of the document is this contradicts? You're saying it contradicts faith and morals because it's wrong on the assessment that it gives to.
It doesn't just contradict on the basic theological principle that Galatians says the only way to have the faith of Abraham is in Christ. It also contradicts the prior dogmatic statements that you can't have ecumenical interfaith gatherings. That was the point of Mortalium Animos.
But this isn't calling for interfaith gatherings.
Yes, it absolutely is. What are you talking about? Why do you think the Pope goes and builds the Abrahamic Faith Center and does interfaith gatherings, if not these documents?
That is why the Pope is doing that, but we're looking at...
So you just contradicted yourself. You just said the Pope. You said these documents don't refer to that. Now you're saying that he does do it because of this.
We're we're trying to figure out where there's an explicit contradiction from the
Mortalium Animos says you can't do interfaith gatherings. The popes do them on the basis of these texts. That's a contradiction.
So by the action, that is the contradiction.
Yeah. Did you know your moral theology says that actions betray the faith that you have, and so you can commit an action of apostasy that excommunicates you from the church? Did you know that?
Yes.
Oh,
correct.
You did that. So, for example, abortion is a late sententia excommunication. It's an action that removes you from the church in your theology and your canon law. In the same way, actions of apostasy do that too.
So, but in looking at the position stated in Nostra Aetate, the whole context of paragraph 3 does note the things the prophets do honor the Virgin Mary.
None of that has anything. It doesn't matter. So did the Arians. So does the Hindus. By the way, these texts say that Hindus call upon God too, the same God. So you worship the same God. So if I believe in one God who's Satan, is that the same because it's one God?
Right. I can see how the argument falls apart going down that road, because they don't believe in the same God, and to say, from the Catholic perspective, they do honor the God we do is a betrayal.
Look, your church called crusades against Muslims. Now the Pope goes and prays in mosques. If that's not a clear enough sign of a departure, I don't know what to tell you. And you know what? Be a Catholic, man. If you want that, go for it. That's all I can say. If you think that's what traditional Catholicism is, have fun with that.